Hello, everyone, and welcome to another wonderful episode of Paranormal Minds. I'm your host, Shannon Ray, and I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in here on this wonderful Tuesday. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and tell you a little bit about my guest for this evening. It's a paranormal team showcase, and the team we're talking with this evening is a paranormal group, Erie County, Pennsylvania. And I know they have like an acronym for that, but I'm not even going to like touch it right now. A paranormal group of Erie County, Pennsylvania is an investigation group founded by longtime paranormal investigators Jay McCann and McDaniel. Were both well-known contributors to Erie and the surrounding communities, leading fundraisers and lecturing on ghost spirits and hauntings. With over 100 investigations over the past 12 years, McCann and McDaniel now show no sign of slowing up. They continue their work with helping others understand the science and the metaphysics behind exploring the unknown. And without further ado, tonight I'm joined with James McCain and Jason, which is part of their group as well. And I'm going to bring in these guys. Hi guys, how are you doing?
Hello. How are you?
I'm doing good. Sorry, I know I didn't want to get into your acronym there. You call it, what is it? It's APGECP, is that right?
You got it.
Woohoo! I got it. I was scared if I started to like try to say that in your introduction, I was gonna butcher it and like just kill it.
You know, it's kind of funny because when people see the acronym, they always ask me what it means.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping that your group name, considering the fact it kind of falls along the lines of that. So, but you know, some people just they miss it, so that's okay though.
Right.
So I know like in your bio, it kind of mentioned a little bit that, you know, how long the group has been around, but, Jason and James, do you each mind taking a moment to just kind of talk about how long each of you have been active in the paranormal field and kind of what got you individually into it?
Sure. I'll start. I actually got started, I would say, formally in 2000, but that was basically just reading, reading some books and stuff like that on the paranormal. And at that time, I really didn't know that I was going to be going into the paranormal to be an investigator. I just had a interest. So then 2003 came around, and I got more interested in it. And I found a group here in Erie, and I went around with that group for a little bit. And then after it closed shop, I decided to start my own group with one of the other members that are here right now, Donnie. And that was back at the end of 2003, 2004, and been doing it ever since. I'll hand it over to Jason.
I've always been interested in the paranormal. Grew up in a small town with the stories and the myths, and I pretty much would set out to discover what was true or not. A couple years ago, I went to an event hosted by James, really enjoyed it, and now a couple years later, I'm working with him.
Well, I'm sure he's definitely glad that you were there and that you are working with them. I noticed that you just mentioned again, that event that James is doing. James, what kind of events do you do? What kind of stuff do you guys do in your community?
Well, as you know, we're from Erie, Pennsylvania, and Erie's kind of a small city. What I like to do is I like to go out and I like to lecture on what I've learned over the years being a paranormal investigator. And that consists, my experiences, some things that I've picked up along the way from others, in the field that, I've learned. And so we do fundraisers once in a while. Like if we do lectures for churches and stuff like that, we do fundraisers for the church, things like that.
So, James, I mean, both of you guys might be able to answer this question. I don't know how long Jason's been in the field or been, with you guys, but here in the South, we kind of meet a lot of resistance, because we're in the Bible Belt and stuff like that from, just the majority of mainstream population. When you're doing these events and stuff like that, do you find that there's a lot of resistance and a lot of skepticism, but not even just skepticism, a lot of hostility about what you're sharing with people?
I think around this area, it's not as harsh as I would say like around like inside a Bible Belt.
Yeah, like Georgia.
but you do get some negative feedback, on the paranormal in this area. We I did some work, for a long time at a certain location in one place, and we did a lecture and a dinner on it one time out at a certain place. I'm not going to mention where, but we were going to do it again the next year, and they didn't want us back because they thought we were devil worshippers.
Oh my goodness.
So I think, to be honest with you, I think you get that everywhere and anywhere. It just depends on the area, like I said, like in my opinion, I think you get it more in a southern type, atmosphere and not so much in a northern type atmosphere. It's nothing harsher there that I'm saying that. It's just that, that's where I would see it happening,
Yeah. And so I had to ask because, when I have all different teams from different parts of the country, I'm really kind of curious, if that's some of the obstacles and challenges that they face, within the area that they're in, as, people just thinking, here I hear it all the time because we're from Georgia, that I hear, oh, you're conjuring, what is it? You're conjuring demons or the devil and stuff, like that. And so I like to see, like, if any other teams, have to experience that kind of ridicule, so to speak.
Well, I think there's different types of when you say demons,
Yeah, I did that in quotations. I know you can't see me, but
if I have to admit, I'm Catholic, but as far as demons go, I think. I'm going to be totally honest, 100%. Over the 100 investigations that I've done, I've never come across anything physically demonic.
Yeah.
However, I would put like maybe a small percentage of maybe something psychologically demon. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah, absolutely. I do.
Yeah. By you, Jason?
I go in thinking positive. I have never experienced anything negative. Mm-hmm. If you think and have your mindset on something being negative, it's always going to be negative. Mm-hmm. But like I said, if we go in positive and say we're here to communicate, then we're going to get positive things back.
Mm-hmm. And that's pretty much how we, like to work. We like to work in a positive atmosphere. We're not the type of group that goes out and taunts. I don't believe in it. We believe that, the other side are, people like you and me that work, once in the physical world. So that's how we handle it, and that's how we like to treat it,
Yeah, I mean, which is completely understandable. And, I've been doing this since I was a teenager, and I've never came across anything that I would even remotely begin to say was demonic in nature. And I know that there's a lot of what I call newbie teams out there that see it, in mainstream TV, Zach Bagans every Saturday night, something's malevolent or something's evil. And that's just not the reality of how life is as a paranormal investigator. And that's not the true, dangers that, investigators are facing out there. You're facing more of, psychological issues and things of that nature, not that.
I I actually, I actually met the Ghost Adventure crew back in 2007, before before they had a TV show.
Uh-huh.
So,
well, I mean, I'm not knocking them. Don't get me wrong, but when you're throwing that out there to the majority of the public every freaking Saturday, there's no way they are just finding like that much crap, like demonic stuff. Like, I mean, in the reality,
I don't believe they're finding that much activity.
Yeah.
You know, I think paranormal activity is very rare, and you're lucky if you come upon it. You know.
Yeah.
That's just my opinion. But also, you know, I did an investigation of a local bridge out here, and I did the study for probably about 10 years, and hopefully in the near future, you know, we'll have a book out. I'll have a book out about it. Bob Marie's helping me with it, but out of all that, you know, I never came across anything demonic or mean. But I will say, you know, that some things did happen, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, we do have a question from the chat box for you guys real quick. I'm going to kind of start with its first one. Do you guys do, like, I know the paranormal umbrella encompasses, like, Bigfoot, UFO, that kind of thing. Do you guys do any kind of, like, Bigfoot investigations, or are you just kind of, like, strictly ghostly? So to speak.
I'm strictly ghosts and hauntings. I don't know, you know, I never asked James, and he's been with me for 2 years. I never asked him if he's into Bigfoot or anything like that. I just assumed he was in it for the ghosts and hauntings.
For me, it is mostly hauntings. Bigfoot goes, I'd have to see it myself or hear it myself to get me wondering, pondering. But as far as I've seen and heard things in the paranormal as we do to make me believe and make me want to continue studying and investigating.
Mm-hmm. So the next question from our chat box is, what type of equipment do you gentlemen use? Well, I'm sure you use a lot of the standard, but which is your favorite?
I think the favorite for us is called the H2 Zoom audio recorder.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's like one of the most important pieces of equipment you could use as far as a piece of physical equipment. However, my favorite piece of equipment is my mind.
Is your mind? You know, I used to be kind of a techo geeky kind of girl. I still kind of am. Don't get me wrong. But over the past, 3 years, I've really realized and kind of reverberated back to looking at my own body as an indicator of the activity that was going on around me instead of relying on equipment so much.
Right.
Because I think a lot of times as investigators, we get so caught up in the cool little gadgets, and don't get me wrong, a lot of them are cool, but we forget that our bodies are already built to kind of tell us about some of this stuff a lot of times.
Exactly. And, just like with some of the EMF meters out there, like the K2, for example, not knocking it or anything like that, but it's actually, it's an AC meter.
Mm-hmm.
And, I think I really haven't been up to tech lately. We've been doing a lot of other stuff. But I know the K2 AC, am I right?
Yeah.
And they're making DC meters now, like with your Mel and stuff like that. They're capturing both types EMF. But if I were to say, have a favorite meter to use, I would use a DC Mel that measures DC, because our bodies are made up of that small amount of energy. Mm-hmm. And that energy is measured as direct current, not alternating current.
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of my favorite pieces personally is just having a recorder with headphones in my ears and just listening and just doing it kind of, regular style. I don't even, like, when I go out, like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I have people on my team that grab stuff, but I just like to have a recorder with headphones and I'm good.
Yeah. Sometimes the simple stuff's the most, what am I trying to say here? The most simple stuff you get the most evidence with.
Yeah. Kind of going back to the basics and not trying to overdo it. Just simplify it.
Right.
So, do you guys go about finding new members? I know there's only 3 of you guys. Do you guys look for new members, or are you just kind of happy with the 3 of you dudes hanging out?
We're kind of happy with just the 3 of us, or the 2 of us.
As of right now.
I strongly believe in that. Again, here I'm not, saying you have to go out and just do 3-person group. You can be any person group you want to be, but we just feel less people in a group. There's less contamination when you're out there trying to investigate in a controlled environment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And do you find, like, I have kind of a problem because I feel like guilty when people come up to me and they want to be in, a group or something. And I feel like, well, if they're really interested, I feel like I kind of have a duty. But then there's part of me, like, I weed them out, like, really fast because I realize they're just not going to cut it, And, I mean, maybe, I know there's, like, teams that are like, oh, we have, like, 25, 30 members. Like, what are you going to do with those 25, 30 members, Like, I got 6 and I'm busting at my seams. Like, I don't even know what to do with 6, So, yeah. I mean, when you go on most investigations, you don't even need but 4 max,
Right.
I know a lot of teams are like, oh yeah, we got 35, 50 members. No, that's not, because it legitimately doesn't make you have the best investigation either.
Right. I think more people you have on investigation is more for the accidental contamination of audio. I've been, like I said, we do events, and somebody asked me one time, well, didn't you get an EVP at the event? And I'm like, well, yeah, I got it, but I don't put it up. I'm not going to put it up. And they're like, well, why aren't you going to put it up? Just because when I tell people about the protocols in my lecture, they don't follow them anyway. And then you go up and you're doing your investigation. You can hear people whispering and doing this and doing that, so.
Yeah, I agree with you 110%. So, in your opinion, what are some of the most haunted locations, within the field? What's some of the most haunted stuff you guys have come across?
Rolling Hills Asylum was pretty active for us. I think James caught an EVP of amputee.
Yeah, down by the moor. Yeah, that was an interesting place.
Yeah. What other?
You ever seen there?
No, actually, I have not. I haven't. As far north as I made it has been when we went to New York and we met you guys up at the Paracon that was held by Penn. And James was asking for gas money from everybody. I had to plug it like once, James. I'm sorry. Yeah. Honestly, I never even knew you had like a gas money thing going on until after the fact.
You know the whole story behind that, don't you?
No, I really don't.
Well, I'll tell you. Let everybody hear. What happened is right next door to the Shanley, okay, where we're all at. There's a corner store. There's a corner store right there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And they have really good sandwiches and cookies. Just saying.
Right. So we were over at the expo part, and I'm like, well, I got to go get something to drink, blah 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 blah. And then somebody said, well, there's a store right down by the down the road. So what I did is I went out, I got in my Jeep, and I drove right past the Shanley, and there's the store, and I'm like, oh my God. That's where this comes from. So I always joke, you know Kim, I always joke with her that she owes me gas money because I went to the store, you know. So that's how that came about.
I see now. I understand. I was there for both days and it just went like phew, 747 square over my head. So, but that's okay. That is completely okay. And James, just for future reference, that store's like seriously like less than a quarter mile from where the expo was going on. I mean, I'm just saying.
Yes, we found that out. I found that out. Yep.
So in your town, in your area, you know, I kind of like to ask. I know there's a lot of like myths and rumors in each town. Like, in each town, it has their own little batch of rumors and ghost tales and things. What's any that you found like in your area that you believe are kind of legitimate?
The one location is the bridge that James was talking about. There was a couple others, but people kind of shun away from investigators going into them.
Yeah, but I would say the bridge. It's basically called the Judgeville Bridge. It was an old covered bridge. It's 100 years old. Did some research on it, and it was a little girl that actually fell to her death from a 225-foot cliff. Yeah, we would say that would be the most active for us. It was burnt down in 2008. But we still go out there. We still make trips out there, and you know, we still get some interesting things, you know, that happen out there.
That's really that's cool. I kind of like to ask like what is it with bridges though? I mean, I just gotta kind of ask because like every area there's some kind of bridge story. I mean, is it just kind of like the thing of, you know, like of urban myths there with bridges, or you think there's a lot of legitimate stuff?
I think there can be legitimate things going on, but sometimes it's not like what I'm finding out, you know, with my work and research with Judgeville, is, you know, I'm coming to the conclusion that it wasn't basically the structure that was haunted, it's the land. Right?
Yeah.
Well, I think when you have, you know, history and possible, I just blacked out on you.
Also, you got the slate, the stone, the running water. I don't know who that was, but somebody in the field said that the stone and the water can help stimulate activity also.
Yeah. Different stones and different running water for sure. Well, James, Robin Marie is kind of jumping up and down from the peanut gallery right now, and she really wants you to talk more about your book. Can you take a moment to kind of talk about your book and what work you're doing with that?
Well, yeah, Robin and I are on the endeavor of doing a book on the bridge, Judgeville Bridge. We haven't finished it yet, but we have to get to it to finish it. It basically, it's about, you know, my experiences in, you know, investigating the bridge over a 10-year period. Mm-hmm. And it should include, I think we're going to put like a DVD, a disc in the back of the book that'll have some of the EVPs that were captured out there, and then photos as well. It's long overdue, but hopefully we can get together and get it finished. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. Is there any particular areas that you would want to investigate, like any kind of places that are on your bucket list?
Bucket list. You know where I really want to go?
I'm listening.
England.
England, really?
Yeah, I hear so much about England and how haunted England is.
Well, there's a lot. I mean, as much history as we have here in North America, I mean, that goes back, forever, way back, way back to, tribes and things of that nature.
Yeah, that's where I'd really love to go and investigate, like an old castle,
That'd be, I gotta admit, that would be pretty awesome. That'd be pretty awesome. To do like an old castle or something like that, it'd be pretty cool.
Even go to, what's it called? Vlad Dracula's castle.
Dracula's castle.
Yeah.
The real Vlad Dracula.
Yeah.
Dracula.
I'm not saying too much, but you're gonna need a lot of gas money to get there, James.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find him and is she there?
So, we all have, our embarrassing experiences on investigation. I know I have had quite a few where I've went to sit down in a chair and it wasn't there and I busted my butt. But I like to kind of ask each team, like, what's your most memorable, embarrassing moment, so to speak?
Oh, it brings back memories when you ask that, because this is really funny and embarrassing. But
we're good with it here. We're all family and friends. No worries.
We were out on investigation. This is another guy. Jason wasn't in the group at the time, but we were actually investigating a cemetery, and yes, we did have permission to be in this cemetery, and I had an infrared video camera set up where it was videotaping myself and the guy I was with, and he was sitting on a stone, had a statue on. I don't know what to call it, like a statue type thing. He was sitting on the cement stone thing there, and I was standing, and we were sitting there talking to each other, and all of a sudden, I'm like standing there talking, and I see through my peripheral vision this black blob near the ground.
Uh-huh.
And when I saw that, I looked again, and when I looked, all I saw was black, and I jumped a mile because I thought something was coming out of the ground. And the guy that was with me also thought it was something, because he jumped a mile. And here what it was a raccoon. So when we go back and we're looking at the video, you can see the raccoon walking up to me. And when I saw it, I just freaked out. I was like, ah.
That's pretty funny. What about you, Jason? Any embarrassing moments?
Yeah, I will admit to this. I tripped over a stump, a real big tree stump. We were investigating, and on both sides of us there were two packs of coyotes, one down in a gully and another one in a cornfield. And at first it sounded like little kids laughing, so that kind of made me spook up a little bit. And as I realized what they were, the coyotes, I went to turn and get into the Jeep, and I didn't realize where that stump was.
Man, was it a face plant moment or just like a bust your butt moment? I gotta have a clarification there to finish out the story.
Yeah, it was a face plant.
It was a total face plant. Like, yeah, that's pretty great. Mine was a total butt plant, and it actually was up at the Shanley. I've never done that before. Out of all the years, I've never done it. We were in the basement, and I went to sit down, and I would have swore on $1,000 that there was that damn chair was supposed to be there. And I went to sit down, and that chair was not there, and it was nothing but butt and concrete after that because it just went straight down. So, do you guys do any kind of techniques, like as a team, that you would consider yourself you would consider different from other investigators in the field?
No,
not really.
No.
I think everybody does the same thing.
I don't agree with that. I think a lot of people can think outside the box with their questioning, and I've heard so many of the same stereotypical ghost questions, as I call them. I think that a lot of teams can start thinking outside of the box and asking, about ice cream and, favorite foods and stuff like that instead of, are you a ghost? Are you here with me? Can you please make your presence known for me? Like things like that. I think some teams, kind of work outside the box a little bit.
I always ask that question. I always ask, what is it? I always say, are you here?
Yeah.
If you're here, or something to the intelligent response.
Uh-huh.
If you're intelligent, can you answer us? That's what I usually say.
Yeah. Well, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So, would you classify your group as religious or as scientific?
I'd say maybe both. Like I'm religious. I've had my experiences that I believe could be, like a religious type experience. But I know that, sometimes, you have to be a little bit scientific, because there are logical explanations out there sometimes,
Well, I think that's good to be a balance of both.
Yeah, I agree.
In my personal opinion. So, have you guys ever had like any kind of horrible tech problems or anything challenging that really is memorable that sticks out in your mind?
Oh, one for me, we were down in Centralia, Pennsylvania, doing some work, and we for some reason equipment just kept disappearing, and the actual battery off of the one camera ended up somehow being in the truck, and we don't understand. No, I'm sorry. It fell on the ground and we couldn't find it.
Loss of time and space.
A lot of weird stuff, and it seems to happen with equipment a lot too. And I noticed like equipment has this tendency at very haunted locations just to kind of move itself, which is very interesting. But you never get that crap on camera either. Nobody ever thinks, okay, let's set up a camera and look at our equipment, and when it just like totally moves, there's some evidence for you.
Right.
So someone from our chat box wants to know, when you guys do EVP work, do you use headphones at the same time or no?
Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. Sometimes I feel I can hear voices,
Yeah.
Like the disembodied voice.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I use them, sometimes I don't. It just depends on the noise level in the background.
Yeah, and for me, like I've noticed, like if I keep them on for long periods of time, it kind of gives me almost a vertigo effect too. Do you have that problem, or it could quite possibly just be me?
I have that trouble with my computer at times.
Uh-huh.
But on other times, it's easier to use the headphones. But then you find stuff in the headphones, and then when you play it back without headphones, you lose it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which completely, can be a reality. So besides the book, James, what kind of stuff is your group working on here now? Any kind of big stuff they have coming up?
Right now we're working on a investigation down in the town of Waterford. We're doing a hotel out there. So we've already investigated it one time, and they called and they want us to come back in because they think there's more going on. Now we're digging more into the research. We're doing that right now. What else we have going on? We have a couple radio shows we're going to be doing.
Charity thing.
Yeah, we're going to be doing a charity thing for a church here in April. And House of Wills in May.
Robin Marie says a local TV show. I think she knows your schedule better than you.
Local TV show. Yeah, that's something we're basically kind of working on. Hush, Robin.
She says she's just very proud of you guys. She can't help it, and she always has to create trouble in my chat box. She just can't help herself. But I still
And
love.
Robin's my favorite.
Yeah, I love her for it anyway. She's pretty awesome. So what? Speaking of the investigation, like the hotel and everything, what's kind of your process and your techniques for conducting an investigation? Like, what kind of routine do you do? And how do you kind of, do it encompass a full investigation, so to speak?
Well, we're kind of we're old-fashioned. We start out where we interview, the people that are part of the hotel. We interview them first. We go as far as interviewing them in separate rooms to see if their stories collaborate. We document that, put that down. Then we do like a small walkthrough with the equipment, and like for example, your EMF meters, we look for our natural man-made EMFs, like off appliances and stuff like that, so we can understand where those are at compared to where you're not getting any EMF at all. We set up draw on paper sometimes, where these man-made fields are at. That way we know when we start doing the investigation. And we also set up a 4-channel DVR to hit, watch places, surveillance places that are said to be the most active, where people are finding the most active. We spend probably a good 8 hours, sometimes we start at 7, we'll be done at 3, sometimes we start at 8, and we'll go to 4 in the morning,
Mm-hmm.
It's not like what you see on TV.
Yeah. It definitely, it isn't. It's emotionally, psychologically, mentally draining, physically draining, every aspect of, it takes a toll on your body without a doubt.
Right.
So, Jason, I have to ask, with you learning from James, because James seems to be, a seasoned veteran in a lot of this work, do you feel like you learn a lot from James and that he maybe, sets an example for you or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. Every investigation is always been, a learning experience for me.
Uh-huh.
Because I can take techniques to the next investigation that we do. We try to come up with different ideas on how to investigate, try different equipment, one another. We throw ideas back and forth, and I do take his input really well and consider what I do, hopefully not hurt the group.
Yeah.
Jason's a good listener. He's a good guy. He always shows up, and he's always willing to help in other areas, funding, things like that,
So, and I'm going to kind of flip that question around on you, James. Do you find that having someone young like Jason, work with you with a newer perspective, does he help you at all? Kind of keep a fresh and unjaded perspective on everything? Because I know as time goes on, as investigators, it's a lot easy for people to get jaded.
He's a regular pain in the...
I get sent back to the truck a lot. Go to the truck.
But I think, Jason, you probably offer a little bit of new age, experiences there too. A little breath of fresh air.
We're missing the third stooge here.
Right here somewhere.
Yeah.
He's good. He asks a lot of questions, and I like that. That way I can generate to him what things I've learned, in the past. And then, like you said, I learn off him as well as he learns off me, and that's always good.
Do any of you guys find yourself getting jaded at all? I've run into a lot of people that have been in this field, for 20 plus years, and they just feel burnout and jaded. Do you start kind of feeling that way where you don't take people seriously anymore and stuff like that?
Sometimes I do, but I don't let it eat at me. And I guess the reason I don't let it eat at me is because I know what I'm doing. You know,
Yeah.
I've been doing it for 13 years. I don't need to get big. You know.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. I just, I worry sometimes, because there's a lot of people, even the people when I was a teenager that I looked up to in this field, that had been at it for a really long time and just become burnout and jaded and don't want anything to do with it anymore. And, it's that fear that you have, like, in 10 years, is that going to be me? Like, I don't want, to kind of help to prevent that, because how do you go from loving something so much to almost hating it? Like, it's a hate of love,
Well, I think it's the people you surround yourself with, too.
Mm-hmm.
If you have positive people, you have negative people. Stick with the positive people. Hell with the negative people. I think you have to deal with that too.
Yeah,
there is a lot of negativity that goes around this field.
It's not just negativity. It is high school, boofunkus, whose hair and nails looks better, paranormal drama. Let's call it like just how it is. I mean, there is some negativity, but most of it is just little people having little bratty fits and creating some drama. That's really the root of the problem in a lot of cases.
Yeah, and the thing is nobody wants to call these people out.
Yeah. Yeah. I definitely do. I don't have a problem ever, period. I need to like have a better filter about me sometimes.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a toughy question, but I want each one of you guys to kind of answer it. And it might take you a moment. I always hit everybody off the spot with it. But if you had a chance to investigate with anyone dead or alive, who would it be and why?
Dead or alive?
I hit everybody off guard with that question, but it's all right. You'll get through it. I promise.
I really don't know, to be honest with you.
I'd want to investigate with Jason
here. Jason.
I really never thought about it. If not to even think about, probably like somebody that was in the field, that's gone, like maybe Hans Holtz or somebody like that,
Yeah. I've always kind of wondered, like, about, like, maybe Ed and Lorraine Warren or, like, someone like that. And it's just more for the surrealistic, holistic kind of thing, I don't even know if it'd be to learn, but just to do it. I don't know. I could be kind of lethargic like that. Each team has their own strengths and weaknesses. Can you describe, your team's strengths and weaknesses? If you got any weaknesses.
For myself personally,
yeah.
I'm not a big speaker in large groups.
Uh-huh.
So James is the one that has to handle like the speeches and all that.
Yeah, I've been lecturing for quite a while, so I'm the one that stands up there and does talking. But
yeah.
I love talking about it, and I really don't see myself as having a weakness, because I won't allow it. It's like I said, if somebody's going to challenge me on, being weak about something, to me that's negative, and it's like, hey, goodbye,
Yeah.
But if you're positive and you're going to, talk to me in a respectful manner and everything like that, that's my strong point,
Mm-hmm. So Jason, you kind of mentioned what you thought your weakness would be, but what do you think would be your strength? Everybody got strengths.
I really don't know, to be honest with you.
You got strengths. Everybody got strengths.
my effort to the team and
I think Jason's strong point is his compassion and his drive and his realism for what this is and what he wants to do with it.
Thank you.
and mine's the same way, you know.
Yeah. And that's what it's all about, is, compassion and having passion for what you're doing, too, in my personal opinion. So, James, I got to ask, this is a long time question that bugs my brain. How did you meet up with the lovely Reverend Robin Marie?
I don't know.
I'm going to kind of put her on the spot right now. I mean, she's kind of taking over my chat box right now, so I'm just going to put her on the spot. Anyway, how did you...
I think she was asking for gas money at one point. Yeah.
Gas money? Robin? No, she wouldn't do that.
No, I think we actually met online a long time ago, and I asked her to do a reading for me on some photos out at the bridge that I had taken.
Oh, she said she had him on. She had you on a radio show. Like, hello.
It goes, oh yes.
Anyway, somewhere down the road, you guys met, obviously, right?
Yeah. Yeah. He's saying it now.
Yeah. When you got turned on to Robin Marie, had you ever heard of anybody that could photo scry or anything the way she can?
I didn't even know what it was.
I didn't either, honestly. I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. I had to, ask her to clarify because I had no clue. And when you Google it, nothing comes up but, crystal ball scrying. And I tried to, Google it and be all professional, I could know. I had no clue. I just had to bite my tongue and ask.
But it's very interesting. Now, let me tell you a story about how good she is. When I was investigating the bridge, the one night she was doing, I was showing her some photos and stuff like that. And she said to me, James, I see 3 spirits. Okay? And then about more than a year, maybe a year and a half later, we were out at the bridge, and I was running an infrared video camera with the other guy in the group, and we actually captured 3 lights that popped up out of nowhere inside the bridge.
And she kind of pinned. I like how accurate Robin Marie can be. I got to tutor her just a little bit.
And I think that I think she's on. I think I'm on with what's going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, in 5 years, where do you see yourself? Where do you guys see APGECP? I got that crap right. Hallelujah. Where do you guys see you guys? Where do you see yourself, 5 years from now, 10 years? What are your ambitions as a group?
5 years, we'll see ourselves in Romania investigating Castle Dracula.
James, we've already clarified it's going to take a lot of gas money to get there.
We're a humorous bunch of guys here. You got to keep that positive energy flowing. But I would say in 5 years, we just want to, expand a little bit, go a little bit, do a little bit more places to investigate, get out of town a little bit more.
Open up more minds, kind of educate, get more history.
I know one thing I got to do is I got to get with Robin Marie and get this book finished.
Yeah. Who would you consider to be the history buff on your team? Everybody has the one person that's the best at it. So which one of you guys are?
I'd say we all are. Yeah. We all basically do the history.
Yeah. Really? You don't have one that's better than the other? Because I'll tell you, I'm not the world's greatest at it. So I'm just kind of curious.
Well, I probably have the experience because I used to be a real private investigator as far as getting the documents, going to the courthouse and stuff like that. But that's what I'll throw to these guys.
Yeah.
Where to get the information,
Yeah, absolutely. You used to be a real private investigator, and you didn't mention that when I asked you how you got in the paranormal field. Does that kind of qualify you a little bit for it?
Yeah, but, you see a lot of people doing that.
Not really. I don't meet a private investigator every day of my life. Or someone who used to be one.
17 years.
Yeah, that's pretty... You were like, now, what kind of private investigator? You were like the ones like catching like the cheating husbands and wives, or like what were you doing, to be honest?
Yeah, a couple domestics.
Domestics. He's so like cool and nonchalant about it. Like, yeah, just a couple domestics. But it does. It really gives you like a good prerequisite into being, you know, a paranormal investigator, having that, you know, that mindset to think outside the box and to, you know, look for what's not necessarily right in front of your face. That should be part of your bio, James. I think you should fix that. No, it needs to be part of your bio. Robin Marie agrees with me.
That's my secret.
So, well, you guys, like, you're doing a bunch of awesome stuff, and, like, you know, I think it's completely and totally awesome. My throat is, like, going dry on me. But, you know, I gotta ask, you know, do you find yourselves, you know, at times at all burnout?
I think being burned out contributed to my heart attack. I was constantly on the go, but yeah, I think sometimes you do get burned out.
Do you find yourself, since that, James, do you find yourself kind of taking it easier and not like pushing yourself as hard?
Yeah, exactly. You know, like I used to be constantly out at this bridge, and now I'm not. You know, you know, I have to take better care of myself too. You know, and so that's what I'm up to now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to babysit him every now and then when we're out investigating.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing keeping in mind either, you know, to pace yourself and, you know, not, because I know groups that'll, you know, do 5 flipping investigations a month, and I'm like, at what point are you going to really get burnt out on this crap? Because eventually you're going to just be done, you know, if you don't pace yourself and take your time. I mean, it's too much physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's just too much to just take on that much at once.
Right.
So, personal opinion, though. Somebody can shoot me for it. Well, guys, I want to thank you so much. And James's website has been up on your screen all night, but it's below me and them currently. Be sure to jot it down just to check them out. And they're also on Facebook, and I think even it said MySpace on one of your things, but I didn't want to like promo that because I don't even know if anybody uses MySpace anymore.
Yeah, it's been ages.
Yeah. It was on one of your like promo, like your images, and I was like, I don't know if I want to like put that out there a lot because I don't even know if anybody uses MySpace anymore. But they're all over the place without a doubt. And guys, thank you so much for being with me tonight. It's been a pleasure having you.
Hey, thanks for having us.
And you gotta like give Robin Marie like an extra piece of candy when you see her, because she's been your cheerleader tonight and promoing you like crazy in the chat box.
Hey, all right. Thanks, Robin.
And next week for you guys, I want to go ahead and throw it out there. We're going to have a special feature from the Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Recently, old management left. New management came in. Let's see what their stories are. Let's get all the rumors out, and let's stop the paradrama behind it more than anything. That'll be next week, March the 11th, the special feature about Old South Pittsburgh Hospital. Be sure to be here. Tune in. This is not a show you want to miss. You need to be here or be square. Once again, you guys, thank you so much for being here. I greatly appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
And everybody stay tuned for the next show on Tuesday evening, the newest show, Intuitive Goddess with Helena Marks. I hope I said her name right. If not, yeah, he's going to kill me. And you guys have a wonderful night. Once again, James and Jason, thank you so much.
Thank you.
And I will see you guys right back here next week. Same time, same place. Don't miss it. You guys have a great week.